The nice thing about this month is I have one less debt to pay for, and I'm getting an extra paycheck at the end of the month. What more could I ask for? Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael, and if you guys like or are interested in seeing how I'm going about paying off $140,000 worth of student loan debt, while at the same time trying to increase my net worth to be over $1 million, then please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. In today's video in particular, we are going to be taking a look at my April budget. And as I mentioned in the intro, the nice thing about the month of April, especially for those of us who are paid every other week, is that April is one of those months, particularly if you're paid on Friday, where you get 3 paychecks instead of 2 for the month. The other interesting thing that we are going to see in this video is that I no longer have to budget towards my private student loans because, well, I don't have any anymore, which is good. But when we get down to the expense column, I will explain how I will be going about saving or paying off my government student loans. Be sure to stick around until the end so you can hear what I'm doing to become debt-free and further my financial independence. So the first thing I'm going to punch into my budget spreadsheet is my income so far for this month. I so far have been paid twice. I've received 2 paychecks, both on the first or the second of the month, and then also this past Friday, which is pretty good. And I will say so far, you guys can tell I plan for right around $2,100. I work in the medical field. I'm an occupational therapist. I'm paid on a semi-commission basis, and so my paycheck does fluctuate paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately. Anyway, paycheck number 1 was actually considerably lower than what I have been receiving, like literally $1,000 lower. So it was $1,879. And I think it says 80 cents. Sorry, I'm trying to read small print on my phone. Paycheck number 2, let me scroll up here. A little bit higher, but still under the mark that I would like to see. $2,007.37. So there we go. So next up is my side hustle, and I actually was paid quite a bit more this month than I was last month. Granted, each month is going by the previous month's performance that I do with my side hustle. It's more occupational therapy, but in a school-based setting. So my side hustle this month that I'm getting paid is actually double what it was from March. In March, it was $608. But this month, it's actually going to be $1,200. So that's really good. I haven't received that check yet, but it's coming in the mail. I have received my first 2 installments for the payment with my side hustle. I got confused. I think in one of my videos, it was actually my last budgeting video that I did in March, I mentioned that I got some random check in the mail for like 200 something bucks, and then I got another one for 600 bucks. And the check was completely just like a blank, no info provided check. It just said from my county, and it said from the county audit office. And so I thought maybe this had something to do with taxes. Turns out this check was actually from my side hustle office. I don't know why it comes in labeled that way, but it has nothing to do with taxes. It has everything to do with my side hustle, with working with kids. The other thing that I'm not adding right now, it actually probably would be down in this miscellaneous category. I have not received my state tax refund yet, which should be right around, it's a little bit above $600, I think, this year. I think that might be because state stuff is a little bit slower than the federal. I actually thought it would be the other way around, but I guess it's not. I received my federal tax return. You guys saw that was last month. That's how I paid off my private student loans. But my state tax return has not yet been received by me, at least. So I'm not going to add anything into the miscellaneous column yet for this month. And as you guys can see, that will leave me this month with, well, right now, I'm budgeting this month for about $6,300. But right now I'm at $5,100, which is $1,200 under what I have budgeted for. And that even includes with the side hustle. But hopefully once that paycheck number 3 comes in, I think that's going to be a better paycheck than these first 2. I think we'll be right at that nice mark where I've planned for the income. Just briefly, looking at the sinking funds column here, I use these to kind of target some future expenses that will potentially be coming. Many of you know I actually went on a vacation already. My wife told me not to draw out of the vacation fund yet. The reason being is that she actually used money that she's earned through her business to pay for a large majority of the vacation. Granted, our vacation was largely paid for by my parents. Thank you guys. They paid for our travel and for the hotel or the kind of resort area that we were at, dining, restaurants, and food, which actually, thank you parents once again, that was taken care of largely by them. Whenever we went out to eat, they paid for it. The only thing we really had to pay for was we went to Universal Studios, and my wife kind of covered that. And I offered to, you know, take money out of here and kind of reimburse her in that way. And she's like, no, I got it. Just keep it in there, let it grow, and we can use it on our next vacation. So thank you, wife. Moving on down to expenses here, and some of these are run-of-the-mill, some of these haven't changed, but I do have an update coming up. So if you've tuned out, tune back in, because we got something new here. Sinking funds, it's the same. I budget $150 towards my sinking funds a month. Mortgage is the same. That's an auto takeout from my bank of $1,059. Nothing new there. However, here we go. Now we're going to see something new. The internet bill. I mentioned a while ago that I need to call up Spectrum, because what they do is they get you with their first year promotional price of about $49. And then after 12 months of using their service, they jack it up to $65. And I mentioned previously that I need to call them up and negotiate this and use the negotiation skills I learned. Well, I tried it once and I was just put on hold for such a long time I gave up. But all hope was not lost. As I was kind of doing some of my budgeting in my Mint budget app, I saw this little thing pop up, a company that they partner with called Bill Shark. I have never heard of them, but basically it's a company that goes ahead and you can tell them to negotiate some of your subscriptions for you. They can't do it with everything, like they can't do it with your water bill or your gas and electric, because those things are somewhat largely based on your consumption. However, things such as your cable bill or your phone bill, or in my case, my internet bill, they are able to negotiate that for you. And it's actually an interesting way they go about it. You put in your payment information and they only charge you if they win your case, so to speak. So in my case here, I sent them to track down my Spectrum bill for my internet, and guess what? They won. So they basically were able to reduce my bill for the next month. So they basically were able to reduce my bill on my for a full year of Spectrum by $180. So that equals out to about $15 of saving per month, because now the bill goes back down to $50. Or I could say, let me be more accurate here, $49.99. Woohoo. So now we get nice numbers, $15. So if you want, you can use their service. I'm not promoting them, I'm not endorsing them, but it worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you. But I think that's pretty cool. Now I get $15 extra in my pocket for at least the next year. Water bill, I just checked it before posting this. It's at $55 this month, a little bit more than what's planned at the $50, but no big deal. Car insurance, run of the mill, $107, nothing's changed. Phone bill, $101, run of the mill, nothing's changed. So the next item on the list here is student loans, and I'm just going to briefly skip over this and come back to it. Some of these other items on the list are easier to and quicker to talk about than what I'm going to be doing with my student loans. So just stay tuned for just a second. My electric bill is continuing to climb for no apparent reason. I really wish I could send Bill Shark out to get NYSEG, because it's ridiculous. I don't know. I did a meter reading finally, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a meter reading and I'm going to have more accurate numbers here, because I know I'm incredibly frugal. Other than right now where I have a bunch of lights on me, I'm incredibly frugal with my electricity. So that's one that I just need to put it block out a piece of time to call them up. I actually know another family that did that, and they were able to have their bill reduced. So there's no reason why I shouldn't. It's just me being lazy. Groceries, I forgot to look this one up. My wife usually makes up the list, and then we get it delivered. I want to say she told me it was around $160 so far. We usually have to buy groceries. We used to buy it once a month and just survive the month. And we used to meal plan and meal prep, but we don't do that quite as much anymore. We usually have to buy groceries right around twice a month, and it doesn't work out on a monthly basis where we buy it like first of the month type thing. Amazon Prime, nothing new, $15 a month. Gas prices have gone down a little bit. I budgeted $250. Let's see, I had this pulled up. Right now, at the time of filming, I have currently spent $118.82 on gas this month, about halfway through the month, so we'll see where we're at when that is done. And that concludes the expenses except for my student loan expense. As you guys noticed, I have reduced both plan and actual to 0, and that's not quite accurate. I just did that as a placeholder so that I can talk about this stuff with you guys. As you know, I paid off my private student loans, and that had basically a minimum payment between $200 and $300 a month. And so I put that in as just a budgeted line item that I knew I had to pay that much each month towards my student loans. But I always went above and beyond that, well above and beyond that, and paid anywhere from like $1,800 a month to $2,300 a month towards my student loans. And that was active payments. I was actively taking money from my bank account, putting it towards these lending sites, Sally Mae, bye Sally Mae, but I was putting it towards her and getting rid of my loans that way. All I have left in terms of student loans is my government loans, which are in deferment. The deferment has been extended, I think, to September, and I actually am quite a few payments ahead of that, so it would probably look something more like November if I'm actually gonna be accurate with when my payments would resume. But here's the thing, I'm not going to be actively paying off these student loans. Instead, I'm going to be allocating money each month and putting it in a savings account. That way I can build up this big lump sum of money in a high interest savings account to then put towards these remaining government loans. The reasons for this I've explained in other videos, so I'm not going to really go into that too much right now. But the one thing I have changed and tweaked a little bit with this process is that instead of just doing what I was around $1,800 a month, which I can still afford to do, what I'm going to be doing instead is actually overestimating the payment that I can put in. So instead of putting $1,800 or $20 or $2,000 a month, I'm gonna just say I'm gonna pay $3,000 a month. And here's why. Because I'm not actively putting this money and this money disappears into a debt collector, like whatever this federal loan site is, because I'm not doing that, it's just going to a high interest savings account. I get a benefit of having it grow in interest, and the more money I have in this high interest savings account, more interest it's going to grow in the time that is allotted for the deferment. And if it comes to a point where it's like, oh, I have some random expense and my bank account can't cover it, then I will just simply pull from that account as much as I need. I'm hoping to not do that, but at least I had that safety blanket and that peace of mind that it's not like the money has disappeared forever. It's still there and it's still growing a little bit, with some interest. And then once the deferment ends, I can make a massive lump sum towards my government loans. The other reason why I'm doing this, and I don't know if you guys have this similar mental block or mentality that I do, and if you do, leave a comment down below so I know I'm not alone. But I have this weird, let me just explain it to you. If my bank account reads below a certain number, like my local bank savings account, if it reads below a certain number, I start getting a little jittery, I start getting a little anxious and nervous. And there's not really a reason for that, because in a scenario like I just described, I still have the money. It's just not in my local bank account. And I'm trying to get over this weird mental block I have that just because a money is sitting in a different bucket, so to speak, doesn't mean I'm without the money. And as much as I tell myself that, it's very hard for me in a behavioral sense to get over that fear of seeing my local savings bank account dwindle down to, I kept it kind of around $10,000. But anytime it goes lower than that, I get nervous, and there's no reason for that because it's just like the money's sitting somewhere else. It's fine. So I need to get over that mental block I have. So that's another reason why I'm going to be putting larger payments, probably larger than what I could afford, so to speak, into this high interest savings account to pay off my government student loans once the deferment ends. So that's just my reasoning behind why I'm going about it in this way. Make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you guys don't miss my student loan payment videos this month, which I'm gonna have to retitle. I know, because it's not technically considered a payment. I know a lot of people who are in my similar boat, they sometimes change their language here and call it a transfer. So a debt transfer or a transfer Tuesday or something to that degree. I usually don't upload on Tuesdays, so I don't know if I'm gonna quite follow suit with that. I'm more of a weekender. The watch, the weekender, whatever. But thank you guys so much for watching, for sticking around to the end to hear me ramble on about how I'm going to be paying my government loans off and what I'm going to be doing a little bit different there. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.